I'm of those always hungry persons.
Maybe because you do not eat meat. Oh, yes, but not too much.
No, I don't think it's that. I've been always been like this. In fact, I have a fast metabolism. Um, but it's I did to pay for my studies when I was in university. I would participate in medical experiments, and one of the experiments, so they pay you for participating in those experiments. So one of those experiments that I participated with was they would put the isotope of carbon in an egg. So carbon is normally 14, I think, and they would give me isotope carbon 13, so they can measure that, because as you know, you breathe out the carbon dioxide. So I would eat the egg, and then this experiment was for measuring how fast metabolism happens, and they would follow, thanks to a certain scan, how the atoms go from the food to your lungs. So they can measure that quite accurately by blowing out in a tube, and then they would measure the amount of this carbon 13, I believe it was, isotope. um, and then they told me that I had like the super fast metabolism, but I already knew that. And then they told me, aren't you always hungry, because like there's few people that have a metabolism as fast as you. And yeah, then you eat a lot. In fact, I'm quite expensive for food, but it's better to eat small amounts more often than stuffing. I cannot stuff myself. It's painful if I eat too much at once. So that's a little bit how that works. But I don't think it has anything to do with the meat. It has really to do with the liver and the enzymes and the genetical predisposition. It also helps me to stay skinny. In fact, I think I'm very unlikely to become fat in my life. In fact, I eat a lot, and I mean, I do eat healthy as well, but I think it would be hard for me, even if I eat unhealthy, to get fat because of this metabolism. Um, so I always did that, because it's nice to know yourself a little bit. Um, we also did this experiment which is called spirometry, which is basically measuring your lung volume, and then you test your lung volume. And I was also pleased to know that I have a little bit higher than average lung volume, and that's also nice, because that's good for diving and stuff. So it's not the, I mean, everybody has stuff, and you, if you start doing this, you will notice things about yourself as well. And don't think I'm special. I'm really not. Um, okay, so today we're gonna see the endocrine disorders. Will be a little bit shorter class. I think we can do it in like 30 minutes, maybe 40. And I start with a little quiz to see what you understood of the previous two lessons. And then next week we have about, when I checked it properly in the other group as well, I think we have 10 lessons left. Okay. Of those 10 lessons, there is one unplugged day and one last lesson. So basically the last lesson we don't do very often. We don't do that much usually. So that gives us 8 lessons. Okay. So at least 8, 9 lessons, and at least half of that will be spent, one, like, let's say one half will be spent on the biological things of the reproductive system, and then the other part, which is quite a good amount as well, I hope to even spend a little bit more on that. It's talking on this sexuality thing. I think it's very interesting. I hope you are willing to participate and open the discussion. So in the sexuality part, we will discuss many things. Okay, we will talk about love, we will talk about relation, we will talk about sexual orientation, we will discuss any possible question you have. But the idea is a little bit to see a little bit the different points of view that we have. Okay, there is so much to be said about it. Only already about sexual orientation we could spend all the time. I hope we don't do it, because it's a topic without ending, because I mean, it even goes that far, like, the trans women, they participate in the female Olympics and they win everything. It's like a whole discussion there, if that's fair or not fair. Then the religious issues as well. I'm not afraid to discuss any religious issues. If you're a religious person, I deeply respect that, and I hope you participate, giving your views on the topic as well, because in the end of the day, there is a lot of different opinions about all of this, and I think we can learn a lot from each other, and I can learn a lot from you as well. So that's a little bit what's coming up for the next week, and weeks, not week. And furthermore, I hope that at a certain point, we can meet in the classroom. Okay, they've been talking a lot about this. It seems that it's happening. I don't know exactly when yet, but it seems that we're going to have some classes in campus for some students that are voluntarily agreeing with this, or something like that. I think you will be informed through the tutors or something like that. I have to be very careful with what I say, because I don't know yet what's really going to happen. So I keep that to the people that have it's mainly live, and the people that will take the decisions here. But I've been telling already for several weeks that tech is working on this. So I really hope it happens, because I would very, very much love to see you in real life. I really hope that this can be one. Yeah, even if it's only for a few lessons, I would be very happy to know you in person. I think it would be very nice to meet you. I think for me it's more that than really giving classes in campus, because I mean, how much is left? It's very little, so it's not really about that. It's just I want to know you. I think it's that, and see how you are and stuff. Because I mean, it's still weird, after a whole year on the computer. So it's like a blind date almost. We have been in contact for such a long time, and then all of a sudden, hopefully, we can finally meet. Um, okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. How to say it? This little quiz, not for points, just to see if you know the answer or not. So I'm gonna start in the back now, because otherwise I'm always taking the same people, I suppose. So Camila, can you tell me what are the glands? Glands are small organs located throughout your body that secrete or release substances. How do we call those substances? It's a given.
The B hormones.
Yes, very good, dear. These are hormones, very good. And then Maria Fernanda Alvarez, hormones help your body by doing what?
I the letter C, I think.
Sending nerve messages? No, that's what the nervous system would do. The hormones do another thing. Your second option would be, if it's not sending nerve messages, what would it be?
Telling your cells what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Please remember that, Maria Fernanda, is very important, because basically our cells, we have billions and billions of cells all of our body, and they have to be controlled by something. And they are not that much controlled by our nervous system. Cells are more controlled by chemical messengers and hormones. Okay, so the hormones, they tell our cells how, if they have to do their job more or a little bit less, or start producing, stopping producing, grow, stay how you are, that all of that things. Okay, which of the following parts is not part of the endocrine system? This one goes to Javier. Which one would that be?
D.
No, D or B? Sorry.
D.
No, D is definitely part of the endocrine system. because the pituitary gland is like the mother gland of all. It's in fact the central computer of the whole endocrine system. It activates all of that. It's in the brain. So the answer is not correct. Which one? If it's pituitary gland is in fact the most important gland of the whole endocrine system. They also call it master gland for that kind of reason. So if it's not D, what do you think it is?
Sí,
Hmm?
sí.
C. Okay. C. Appendix. Okay. Very good. We are here in the kids section, not even in the teen section. So it should not be that difficult. Where are the major endocrine glands located? Maria Fernanda Rodriguez, where do you think?
Um, I think D.
Gallbladder, appendix, tonsils, or B, you said?
Yeah,
D?
I think D.
D. No, D is not correct there because the gallbladder is producing bile. Appendix is involved also. I mean, it has not really a clear function. Tonsils also not. Spleen is also not. No, D is not correct. These are organs that are involved in other things. Second option.
I don't know. C.
Yeah, C would be right. In the brain, neck, abdomen, and groin. Groin is the area between the abdomen and the thigh on either side of the body. So it's a little bit like right here, you know. That's basically the area where your ovaries would be. So it's C. Okay, number 5. Let's see. Ian Marco. This gland sometimes called the master gland, though it's only the size of a pea. Which gland are we talking about? The most important gland of the endocrine system.
I think is the letter A.
A pituitary gland. Yeah, very good. Well done. Uh, okay, what is the largest endocrine gland in the body? It's found in your belly. And before we do that, let me quickly go because I don't think we I told you that. But in fact, we have two types of glands. We have an endocrine gland and an exocrine gland. Okay, the difference is a little bit that the endocrine gland is the gland that secretes the product directly into the environment in the surrounding environment. Okay, exocrine glands, they have a duct, they have like a kind of tube, let's say. Okay, so that's a little bit the difference between the two glands. Now we have a big gland in our belly that is of the type endocrine gland, and which one would that be? And I'm going to ask Luna.
Adrenal?
No. Yeah, it's a big gland, but it's not the biggest. We have a bigger one. So
Pancreas?
yeah, pancreas is correct. It's pancreas indeed, because it does a lot of things, producing the hormones insulin, glucagon. Okay, what is a common problem with the endocrine system? Maria Fernanda Maciel, can you tell me hemophilia, which is basically a problem that your blood doesn't clot? Then you have diabetes, lung cancer, and bad gas. What do you think is the correct answer?
I think it's hemophilia.
No, hemophilia is a problem with the platelets. It's a genetic issue, and very often it has nothing to do with hormones, and it makes that your blood is not clotting. So this is not under hormonal control. So hemophilia is not correct.
Is insulin a hormone?
Sorry?
Is
Teacher,
insulin
is
a
it
hormone?
If what is a hormone?
Insulin.
Insulin, yeah, of course, it's a hormone, definitely.
It,
Yes, the other person,
Teacher,
Amelia, yes.
is it diabetes?
Yeah, it's diabetes for sure. The biggest endocrine issue in the world, possibly. Uh, and Maria Fernanda, where are you? We hear a lot of birdies around you. Sounds super nice.
I'm in my room, but there's a tree um, in my window, and there are a lot of birds.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so peaceful. It's really nice. You feel like in nature in the city. What is the hormone that the pancreas makes? Or it bothers you maybe if you have to study like chippy chippy all the time. What is the hormone that the pancreas makes, Kiretal?
Insulin?
Yeah, insulin. Well done. And where can you find the pituitary gland? Ali? Is it in your foot, in your liver, in your brain, or next to the heart and the lungs? Difficult. I don't hear you. I think there's a problem with your sound. Anybody else can tell us?
Um, I think it's on the base of your brain, the letter C.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, last question, a little bit more difficult possibly, because it's a bit confusing, I would say. Ana Isabella Ann Tolsma, what do you think? Which gland makes hormones that help you grow and stay full of energy? So there's, I think,
Um,
there's two. If it would put if I would put it in the exam because it's slightly confusion, I would say both are correct. Okay, but what is the most correct one in this case? If you think also about stay full of energy.
it's the thyroid.
Yeah, it's the thyroid. But I would accept it if you possibly think it's the pituitary as well, because indirectly the pituitary also affects the thyroid gland. So that's a little bit confusing. But anyway, we have 100. In the last question, if I would ask it in the exam, you can always send me a mail and tell me like, teacher, I am not agreeing with the question because in it depends how you see it. You could say that pituitary gland is also correct, and I would accept that. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at the endocrine issues that we can have, the disorders. There we don't have so many, so that's why it can go a little bit quicker. So basically, what is important to know about these endocrine disorders is that they have three main origins. Okay, one origin is, of course, that you have hyposecretion. Hyposecretion implies that you don't have enough of the hormone, so there is not enough production of the hormone. Okay, or not enough reaching to the organs because of damaged receptors of stuff or something in that matter. So not enough hormone because of production or because the cells cannot detect it, let's say. Then we have hypersecretion, which is basically the opposite. It's when you have too much of a certain hormone, usually the excess production of it. And then the third thing is tumors. Okay, I want you to understand as well that the hormonal system, because like remember what we've seen in the quiz, and remember that very carefully, that the hormones tell your cells what to do. Okay, so basically we know that several types of cancers can be related to hormonal issues. If you have too much hormone or disbalance in hormones, it could convert certain cells into malignant cells. It's a complex process, but just as genetics is involved with cancer, also hormonal problems can lead to cancer in certain in certain situations. So take that into account that cancer again is a very, very complex disease, and even we have to involve the whole endocrine system in certain cases. So that's why it's so difficult to cure. Every cancer is unique. Every cancer is different, and it's even different in each person. So that's why it's so complex for scientists to fix this problem. Okay, and cancer, of course, is something that I think the most research money should go to cancer, because in fact, if you look to the numbers, we could even see that in the last decennia, we could even say that we have somehow a cancer epidemic, and this is all because of what we have been discussing time after time: hormones in the meat, GMOs, microplastics, contamination, pesticides, fertilizers, exhausts of industry, contaminated rivers, you name it. Everything of that can be linked to cancer as well. So it's a very sad story, this cancer, because I don't know if you know how bad it is, in fact, but how many are we? We are 17, okay, in this group. Some people didn't come, but basically, it's so bad, guys, that now the numbers tell us that 1 in 3, in fact, more than 1 in 3, will have cancer at one point in their life. Okay, so if you think about that, it makes me a bit scared, because I mean, we're all nice people and nobody of us deserves it. But let's say we're 18, okay, divided by 3. So that would mean that between all of us, 6 of us will get cancer, some kind of cancer in their lives. Okay, I don't wish cancer to anybody. We don't know who it will be, but that these are the numbers. It's that scary. Okay, and you can avoid it. I mean, you cannot avoid it, but you can lower your risk as little as possible by what I've been repeating, like Nepali mantra. Nepali mantra is a song they repeat over and over again. It's quite beautiful. We should listen to it once. In fact, I really like it. It's very relaxing. Is that please take care of yourselves, eat healthy, try to live in a healthy environment as much as you can. So the first disease that we're going to talk about, okay, is diabetes. We also don't have to minimalize this. I've told you in the digestive system, we talked already about diabetes. Diabetes is a very serious issue with very serious consequences. I'm going to show you a part of the video here to understand what diabetes really is. And please understand that diabetes has a whole bunch of problems related to it, okay? It's not just take your insulin shot and you're fine. No, diabetes is affecting a lot of things, it can affect it's even we even know, where is it? I'm looking because I wrote it somewhere here. It has blindness, kidney failure, nerve damage, atherosclerosis. It's a whole cascade of problems. Let's first have a quick look at this video, and I share it in the chat so you can watch it. If you want, you can finish it at home at a later point, because it's too boring. In fact, I mean, it's not boring, but it's too, how to say it? Yeah, you see how they speak. It's very informative, but not
is a condition in which
not very fun to watch for a long time. So I invite you to watch it at home in more detail if you want.
your blood sugar level is too high. After you eat foods that contain carbohydrates, chemicals in your small intestine break them down into single sugar molecules called glucose. Next, the cells lining your small intestine absorb the glucose, which passes into the bloodstream. When the blood reaches your pancreas, beta cells inside the pancreas detect the rising glucose levels. To reduce the glucose level, your beta cells release insulin into your bloodstream. As the blood circulates through your body, the insulin and glucose exit the bloodstream into your tissues to reach your body's cells. Most cells of the body have certain receptors on their surface that bind to the circulating insulin. Insulin acts like a key in a lock to open up the cell so that the circulating glucose can get inside the cell. Now your cell can use the glucose to produce the energy it needs to function properly. If you have type 2 diabetes, either your pancreas does not produce enough insulin, or your body's cells resist its effects, or both. If you have insulin resistance, your insulin cannot unlock the cells to let glucose in because the locks, called receptors, are abnormal or missing. As a result, glucose is locked out of your cells. Consequently, the amount of glucose builds up in your bloodstream in a condition called hyperglycemia. To compensate for hyperglycemia, your pancreas produces more and more insulin. Your overworked beta cells try to keep up with the demand, but gradually lose their ability to produce enough insulin. Due to hyperglycemia and the lack of insulin, you may experience the following classic symptoms of diabetes: excessive hunger, excessive thirst, increased urine volume, and unexplained weight loss. Symptoms of type 2 diabetes that may appear over time include fatigue, recurrent infections, changes in vision, itching, and tingling or prickling sensations in your skin. Life-threatening complications of type 2 diabetes include diabetic ketoacidosis, hyperosmolar hyperglycemic non-ketotic syndrome, and hypoglycemia. If you don't receive treatment for hyperglycemia,
I'm gonna leave it here because, like I said, it's a little bit how you say it in Spanish, tieso, ¿no? ¿Se dice así? Tieso. So this diabetes is a serious issue, and soon I suppose that we all know people with diabetes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The nice thing about diabetes, however, is that if the person is carefully, okay, agarran la onda, para decirlo así. If the person is careful and does really careful his medication or her medication and ensures that they eat healthy, you can live more or less okay with it, okay? But the thing is that a lot of people, they just stay in their old habits and they make it worse and worse without even noticing. And that's especially the case in Mexico. Also, people can be pre-diabetic. You know what pre-diabetic means? Is that you have small symptoms of getting diabetes. You don't have enough insulin production anymore. And it has been detected in very young people already, like as young as 18 years old, 16 years old, 20 years old. And I was thinking, how is that possible? And I understood when last year we had some workers in our house, and I was quite astonished to see firsthand how bad the Coca-Cola and refresco consumption is. They would not drink water. They would not have any problem with drinking like 2 liters of Coca-Cola a day, because it's refreshing, it's tasty. And also, don't think that diabetes is a disease for fat people. It's not true. You could be really skinny and have diabetes as well. It's not really related. It's often people that are a little bit more overweight, but it's not necessarily the case. So Vera Sofia says that her dad has type 2. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's what I said. You can live perfectly fine with it. But tell your father that I hope that he care. Yeah, he probably does. He has to take care a little bit of what he eats. Okay. That's important if you have diabetes.
Like he has a specific diet that he follows like strictly, and he does exercise every day, and like he respects a lot with the hours he eats and all of it. So he has like
Okay.
no trouble with it.
Perfect, Vera Sofia. And any what was the cause in his case? Can do you want to share that with us?
I think it was because like a lot of his family has diabetes type 2. So we think that he got it like since he was a kid, but it didn't showed up like a lot of symptoms.
Yeah.
But like when he went to the doctor, like when he started feeling bad, um, it was like 2 years ago. The doctor told him that he had like sugar levels like
Hi. Yeah.
crazy high. Yeah, and but he was okay. He wasn't feeling bad or anything. Like but his body got used to being in those levels, and then well now he's stable and he's fine again.
Okay, perfect. I'm happy for him. Yeah, in fact, there is a genetic predisposition to diabetes as well. So there's some people that are more likely to get it than other ones, and especially the ones with genetic predisposition, they should be extra careful with it. So exercise is indeed very important. Okay, so let's skip to the next disease. It's called Reuter. I'm going to share my screen here. Goiter is a disease that we talked about it yesterday a little bit about the salt. You know, you need yodo in order to produce enough thyroid hormone, T3 hormone, T4 hormone. And if you don't have it, you get this enlarged thyroid gland. It's very, very uncommon in the developed world. But I have seen this illness in Nepal when I was there in remote areas far from the sea. I have seen people with this issue. Okay, of course, if you see the picture of this man, then it's a pity that it comes to that because it's very simply treatable. You know, if it's detected in time with just yodo supplements, you usually can fix this. Another illness that is related to the hormones is cretinism. Cretinism is, we also call that congenital hypothyroidism. It means that the thyroid gland is not producing enough hormone. It's not sending correct signals to the cells, certain cells in particular, and that causes the individual not to develop properly. So you typically get uh, growth retardation, mental retardation, development delay, and other abnormal features like you can see in this picture. Okay. Um, okay. Next one is acromegaly. Okay. Acromegaly is in fact an issue that is because of too much growth hormone. And what is particular about it is that not everything grows in the same way. So it's before, for instance, you get really big hands or really big feet or big features in your face. It is a bit strange how that happens because it's this typical disproportional growth of certain body parts. It's called acromegaly. And this is in contrast with another issue that is caused by growth hormone overproduction, which is giantism. Because in giantism, everything grows at the same rate. So it's not that disproportional. Uh, the both illnesses are not the same because in acromegaly it has to do possibly also something with certain areas that have more or less receptors, or that the hormone is more effective in certain areas of the body. You can see this girl here as well, like how she has like a nice proportional features, and then by the age of 16 is still okay, but then you start to see that something is a little bit odd, you know. And as you get older, the changes, they become more and more pronounced because these hormones, it's produced over a whole lifetime. In fact, I know a person, a woman who has acromegaly, and she got an operation in the pituitary gland area, and they could more or less fix it. So fix it in the sense that certain things, they look a little bit taller, but it's no more growth. So there is treatment for this somehow. And then we have these other two, that is giantism and dwarfism. Basically, one is too much hormone, the other is too little. And you all have seen Game of Thrones. I always use Game of Thrones, and I haven't seen it. I mean, I've seen like the first season or something like that, and then I stopped because why? Because it was not available for free. It has to be for free. I don't know where to watch it, basically. But I have friends that could share it with me, but I still didn't do the effort, so I'm still way behind in Game of Thrones. I haven't seen it completely yet. Same with Vikings, by the way. I would like to see Vikings, but I'm also not there yet. But maybe one day. Maybe I should watch less documentaries and more like kick-ass awesome series, because they told me that Vikings, I've seen certain episodes, is really cool, because I like the scenery, I like the nature, the time. Yeah, I think it's nice. Maybe I'm gonna watch it sooner or later. Anyway, in this Games of Thrones series, you have a dwarf, and basically, I read that somewhere that these dwarfs possibly will be a part of the past, because we can treat that now somehow. I'm not exactly sure of this information because I didn't check the source properly, but at least I read that nowadays dwarfs, like you see in Game of Thrones, that they will be part of the past, because nowadays we can treat that by, if there is somebody, a child, let's say, that you notice that it's not growing properly, that we could administer growth hormone, human growth hormone, just as we administer human insulin to fix the problem. So maybe they will become really aware if this is a true story. I think it is. I think it's a true story, because I think we are very capable of fixing these things, of course. But it's of course something that yeah, that is yeah, something of the past, and yeah, it would, I mean, I don't want anybody to be a dwarf, of course, but maybe it would also be a pity to not have those individuals anymore, because they're kind of cool, right? But of course it's a bit, I don't want to be mean about it, because I don't wish anybody to be a dwarf, but it has something, you know, it's part of humanity in the sense. And I think it's a bit strange if all of a sudden we can fix it and we wouldn't have no dwarfs anymore. But anyway, that's aside. So I wish you a very peaceful weekend, guys. Take care of yourself, and we will start with our reproductive system next week. I hope you will like it. This will be very, very relaxed, and like I said, I really hope that we can do parts of it in campus, because it will be way cooler. Okay, so take care, guys, and we see each other on next Wednesday. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.